I'm from Minnesota originally. When I heard Dave was getting an award, I emailed Don, I emailed Maria, I'm like, can I please say something? That sounds bad, but it's a good thing. So, growing up in Minnesota, Dave Ryan is radio. Everybody listens to Dave. Dave is the guy. When I was 17, I applied to be on his show as an intern, got the job, flex. And the day before my first day, I was listening to Dave's show to get a feel of it. And he was doing a contest for Nelly Furtado tickets. It was like 2007, the height of Nelly Furtado. And the contest was, Dave was going to cut your finger off with a bolt cutter, and then if he did it, you sat in the front row. And I listened to that, and I was like, I probably shouldn't be radio. This is horrendous. Then Dave mentioned that it was a joke. He posted the video online. It was a chicken bone, and I was like, okay, this guy's sick. I worked with Dave for 4 years, and everybody always asks, like, what's it like working with Dave Ryan? And to me, there's like three things that make Dave different. I think it's, in our industry, it's easy when you get success to get complacent and do the same shit over and over. We all know those who do it. Mojo, no, I'm kidding, Mojo. Love you. But Dave always was doing new stuff, always innovating. I remember some of the ideas not great. There was one Black Friday, the Xbox 360 was coming out, and Dave had me go and cut in front of people in line at Best Buy at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was, I almost got jumped. But it was okay because I had Taco Bell gift cards to give away to people. Dave also did a great job of giving credit to his staff. If you create a bit, Dave makes sure you get credit. And the last thing, I think Dave's been a great champion of the women on his show. If you look at the women Dave's had on his show, Lee Balzvik's now in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame in Minnesota. Corey Foley's in San Francisco. Bethany went to New York. Andrew Taylor's a fucking goat in Chicago. And when I left Dave's show, I kind of thought this was common practice with other shows, that everybody gave credit, everybody supported the women, everybody tried new stuff. And that's when I realized, like, oh, Dave is one of a kind. That's not that common in this industry. We talk a lot about legacy in radio, and to me, legacy isn't how many affiliates you have or your AQH, because one day that all goes away. Like one day, we won't have affiliates, we won't have an AQH. Legacy is, can you change lives? And for me, I was 17 when Dave hired me. That was 16 years ago this week, which makes me feel old as shit. But I've been in DC for 10 years, hosted my own show in DC and Baltimore for 3. And because of Dave Ryan, I can change the lives of the folks on my show and my listeners as well. And because of that, Dave Legacy will live on forever, which is very cool. So I'm very honored to be here for Dave. And I want to bring up now the previous recipient of the Crack Award, one of the nicest guys in the industry, Mr. Mojo from Detroit.
Woo! Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. First off, I want to say before we talk about Dave, this has been the best boot camp I've been at in probably a decade. And it's been, honestly, and first off, I don't know, is Don even here or is he in there counting his money? Where is he at? Don puts his heart and soul into this, and I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that will go, who's Don? And you see some of the younger talent don't understand the legacy that Don has. Coming to this boot camp since I was doing mornings in Tucson, Arizona, and we had to like literally drive to get here, pay our way, do everything because we had no budget. And then to go look through the years where there was so many great talent that would come, and then there weren't any young people that were here. And honestly, there were years I'd come here and I think that this was like the white guy convention. And I look at the diversity, I look at the youth that we have here, and I hope that this is an inspiration going back for all of you guys, that you are very blessed that you don't have a real job. How great is it that we get to do this and be able to be on the radio or podcast or whatever you're doing. And if you don't have a job, I suggest that you continue to keep doing this and use what you learned here as inspiration to get something great. If you don't have a job or you don't have the job that you want, it's because you probably haven't had a conversation with Dave Ryan. When I was in Tucson, way back in the Tucson days, I would talk to Dave, and then when I moved to Detroit, this man was literally the blueprint of what I decided that I wanted to do, knowing that our markets were so similar, but also knowing that this guy knows his stuff. Dave and John talked about this. Your legacy is obviously your 4 children, the fact that you have a child in broadcasting who won an Emmy Award, right? An Emmy Award winner in Phoenix television. Having been a dad to a son that's now in radio, you and I shared just how inspirational that is, but how much we really fucked up. Why did we tell them to do this? He also has a son that is touring with Lauv. So if you know who Lauv is and you've had him on your shows, Dave's son is Carson, right? Carson is doing that. You have children that followed in your footsteps because they saw the countless hours at night, you on your computer, Susan can attest for this, and you were prepping for the next day's shows. You have given everybody on your show a microphone to speak whenever they wanted to, and never were the type of person that would sit there and tell them they shouldn't. They made you better because you made them better. And your show for so many years has been #1 in Minneapolis at the legendary KDWB, and you will go on in history as being the morning show that has brought that station to the highest levels, and that is a legendary radio station. You are a legend in this business, and I want you to know you are a greater guy than you are a legend. I have never met anybody that hasn't had a conversation with Dave Ryan and didn't walk away inspired. He doesn't ever not call you back. And that was what Kid did. How many people in this room ever heard Kid Kraddick ever in their lives? Okay? How many people had an opportunity to ever meet Kid Kraddick? If you've never heard Kid Kraddick or never met Kid Kraddick right here is in the front row in Dave Ryan. Because Dave, you are exactly why you should be getting this award. You are and have always exemplified everything of what Kid Kraddick had brought to this business. I get emotional when I think about our industry because I have a son that was stupid enough to choose this as his business. But I'm so happy that this is his first boot camp and he gets to see Dave Ryan get this award and hear him tell a story that you will hear in just a little bit about Kid. Because I think each and every one of you guys, if you don't know who Kid Kraddick is, should go buy an Art Volo tape. He overcharges for all those fucking things. But it's because he's got to afford that wardrobe of his. Is that the same Michigan thing you wore like the last 3 days? If you don't know who Art Volo is, good. No. Art is the best. Honestly, I love Art. Art came to my house for dinner about 6 months ago, and I gave him a hard out. I said, 8:30, you're getting the fuck out of my house. He's like sales managers. By the way, Hall of Famer right here, Bob Rivers is a Hall of Fame. Bert and I are kissing your feet today, so I just want you to know that. Now back to Dave. Susan, I know you're videotaping this. You're going to hate me for talking this long as I'm talking right now. But if it's not for you and all the wives and husbands and boyfriends and girlfriends of all these people that are in the room, we couldn't do it without your support. You give us the support to be idiots at work. You give us the answers when we come home and we have co-host issues or people fighting amongst the show. But more importantly, you are here for this man, and we love him so much, and you should be very proud of him. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 Kid Kraddick Award winner from KDWB, the legend, Dave Ryan.
Wow. Thank you so much. You know, I listened to Mojo and I listened to Intern John, and it's like, are they talking about me? Because, wow, that was very powerful. Thank you guys. I didn't expect Intern John to be here. I'll tell you a quick Intern John story. Intern John has more confidence than anybody I know in the business. Limited talent, but great confidence. Intern John had worked on our show for about 3 weeks, and he didn't have jock cards. You know what I mean by jock cards? They're postcards with your picture. You would take them to appearances and sign them. Intern John was Intern John. They didn't buy jock cards. He went down to Kinko's and made up his own jock cards. And I saw him on the counter in his studio. And I said, you made up jock cards, that's funny. No, he was dead serious. Intern John knew that people would want his autograph. They didn't, but he thought they did. I love radio. I have loved radio since I was a little kid. Radio was always on in our house. I grew up on a chicken farm in Black Forest, Colorado. And it was always on. It was always our companion. As a matter of fact, when we would leave the house, Mom would leave the radio blaring in the kitchen because she thought if anybody tried to break in, they would think that we were home. So that was her ADT security system back then. Radio was always on, and radio, I think really I bonded with the people who were on the radio, and I said, that's the only thing I want to do in my life. And I will tell you, looking out at you and all the members of this amazing industry, it's surreal. I never did radio to be anything but employed and good. I never expected to be recognized. It's very humbling. I mean, I'm looking at Bob fucking Rivers over here, and I'm like, wow. And so many, and then Mojo, and so many, and Bert's here. It's just amazing. I could go on and on. Let me tell you why I have a bone to pick with Mojo, okay? When I was hiring Fallon for our show, I was on the phone with her, and I said, so you listen to other shows around the country? She's like, oh yeah. Who do you listen to? Oh, Mojo, he's my favorite. Oh, I listen to your show too. Yeah, I listen to your show. I still, to this day, Mojo, where are you? I'm still pretty sure that Fallon likes your show better than she likes my show, which she's on, which says a lot. Mojo and I go back a long time. We see each other at boot camp. We used to do a weekly conference call and steal each other's bits and tell lies and brag about our shows and that type of thing. Mojo is always smiling. I don't think I've ever seen Mojo without a smile on his face. He is just one of the nicest guys in radio. And the legacy, your son was inspired by Dad to get his own radio show to follow in your footsteps, and now he's huge at a huge station, WFLZ in Tampa, The Joe Show. My son went on to become shitty radio jock. No, I made that up. That's not true. That's not true. Nobody knows who shitty radio jock is. He or she or they could be here right now. Look around you. Who is trying to disappear right now? I don't know who that is. I do want to talk seriously about Kid Kraddick for a minute, because Kid Kraddick, I think Mojo brought up something really important. There's a lot of young people here, and I love seeing young people here. I love that young people still love radio, want to make a difference in radio. A lot of people don't know who Kid Kraddick is or was. But Kid Kraddick was so talented, such an inspiration. He changed the business. He changed syndication. He changed how radio shows are managed. His legacy will live on for a long, long time. Here's the great thing about Kid. You would see him walk around boot camp just as humble as everybody else, dressed a little bit better than the rest of us, but just very humble. I have a real quick Kid Kraddick story, because I did not know Kid well. We all knew of Kid, but I did not know him well. But we were all broadcasting from the Bahamas back when they used to send us on radio trips. If you're old enough to remember, they used to send us to Disney or the Bahamas. So we're all on the beach, and Kid Kraddick is doing a show a couple of booths down from us, and I walk over and Kid is taking a smoke break. Kid's human, he loves to smoke. So I walk over and I say, hey Kid, Dave Ryan, how are you? Oh, not good, Dave. Really? Oh yeah. I had a terrible night last night. What happened? Oh. I lost $25,000 playing blackjack. Oh, yeah, it sucks. Back then, it took me 6 months to make $25,000. Kid lost that in one night after taxes. That's crazy. But the kid's legacy lives on and will live on for many, many years. That's how big he was. Like Mojo said, talk to Art Volo and ask about some videos of Kid. And meet Kid's show. Meet Kelly and some of the other people that continue Kid's legacy. I have 4 stories and a moral. They're all very short because I'm worried my PD is watching, and if I go too long, he's going to be pissed. So here are 4 stories. When I was 12 years old, my brother-in-law was in the Air Force. He brought home a used parachute they were going to throw away. It was about the size of a fitted sheet. 12-year-old gets a parachute. What do you think a 12-year-old's going to do with a parachute? Jump off the roof. No, you'd be wrong. I wasn't that stupid, but it was close. I tied this parachute in a bundle on the back of my bicycle, and I rode to the top of a dirt road on top of a hill, put a little ripcord from the seat to the handlebar, got going as fast as I could. The first time it worked great. It billowed out. It was glorious. It was wonderful. I did it again. It didn't work. I don't know what went wrong, but the parachute got caught in the back tire, and it was a bundle of metal, nylon, and 12-year-old boy sliding down the road like this. I still have scars here and on the inside of my arm from doing it, but I was okay. Hold on to that story for a minute. We'll come back to that. Now I'm 21 years old. I'm doing nights in Colorado Springs. I take a job doing mornings in Las Vegas. I'd never done mornings before. I didn't know what I was doing, and it worked out. I don't remember how I did it, but it worked out. And sales liked the show, the audience liked the show, I loved the show, and that was a story that worked out. Now story number 3. Jump ahead a few years, now I'm in Columbus, Ohio, I'm doing the morning show, I had a great idea for a bit. How much weight can I gain in 24 hours? Somebody said, eat a lot of peanut butter. Oh, okay, so I went out and I bought a jar of Skippy peanut butter the size of your head, and I ate it during the morning show with a spoon, and I chased it with a 2-liter bottle of Coke. Later that day, in the emergency room, I realized that was a mistake. One more story. When I hired Fallon, we had a chance to fly 3 people in. iHeart was like, pick 3 people, fly them in, you get no more than that. I didn't want to waste a trip on Fallon. So I said, yeah, we're interested, but we're not, and so she flew herself in. At her own expense, she took a flight in so we could interview her, so she could get in front of us, and it worked. What do those 4 stories, especially the first 3, the parachute, the Las Vegas, the peanut butter, what do they all have in common? At no point did I ever say, what if something goes wrong? What if I die on this bicycle? What if I fail in Las Vegas? What if I don't poison myself with peanut butter? You never think about that, but as you get a little bit older, a part of your brain starts to develop that says, what if something goes wrong? And that's a good thing, because then we'll decide against holding up a liquor store or trying meth. We don't want to try meth, or we don't want to hold up a liquor store. So it's good that that part of our brain is there, but it's also a pain in the ass, because if you ever had a great idea for your show, and then said, but what if it goes wrong, and what if nobody calls? What if I get canceled? I had a brilliant idea for a bit a couple of weeks ago called Expired Gossip. Expired Gossip was going to go really well. Don't write this down. Expired Gossip, you can't gossip about shit that's going on now because people know that it's coming. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You don't want to talk about your wife having an affair with somebody else or your neighbor getting whatever. But Expired Gossip from 10 years ago is fine. This is going to be huge. Nobody called. Nobody called for this bit, Expired Gossip, but we tried. 10% of the bits that I try on my show either bomb or we decide not to do them again. So my challenge for you is when you go back on Monday morning, try something that is a risk. keep taking risks, because once in a while those risks will turn into an amazing bit that you'll be really proud of and you'll want to do again. So keep taking risks, keep evolving your show, keep evolving your character, keep evolving your career. And one day I hope to see you holding this Kid Kraddick Award on this stage. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.